Gamers. Oh, I should probably post on Blue Sky, huh? Let me do that real quick. How's everybody doing? I am sleepy today. I didn't want to do anything. Yeah, get that skeet out there. You know I love to skeet. That's yeah. There's an ad break in 3 minutes, just so everybody knows. Um, yeah, I'm a sleepy person today. I didn't want to do anything, so this morning instead of working on pixel art, I played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle for like an hour or two, and I cannot say enough how good that game is. It's crazy how good that game is. A little headache, but I got a big old cup of green tea. Nice. Oh yeah, thanks for the shout out, Black Cat, at the end of the last stream. We rated Black Cat yesterday. Just wanted to say thanks for that. It was good. Always nice. Okay. We are going to. I'm gonna give each of these frames individual colors first, just because I like doing that. It's a total waste of time, but it is enjoyable. I like seeing the colors do silly things. Hell yeah. I love the emote spam. Do it. I'm glad I said something on the last stream because I feel like y'all are gonna keep it up now. You know? I feel like my message was received and chat truly understands me. And that just makes me feel really good about myself and sort of where I'm at in life. What am I doing? Green one. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm just working on getting. Oh, I could probably turn on the big queue, huh? We do have music to listen through. I don't know any of this though. Let's do the new Magdalena Bay album. I haven't listened to it except for one or two tracks. I say new, but this came out months ago. Um, and here's that, so you can see what we're listening to. I'll put it on the screen too. I am trying out Tidal right now because I would like to transition away from Spotify. There we go. I would like to transition away from Spotify, but here's the thing. Actually, I'm going to mute the music for a second so that I can use this clip on social media. Um, hey Taylor, how's it going? I didn't even realize that was you. I saw your comment and your name color and assumed that you were Tinthwing for some reason. Because your names start with the same letter. That's crazy. Anyways, hi. Yeah, what was I saying? Okay, so the Spotify situation. I don't know if anybody has seen what's happening Spotify, but let's see. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Yeah, there's been more layoffs. They won a lawsuit that allows them to pay artists even lower. They've just their profitability is going through the roof. It's all the things that happen when you have a monopoly over a particular segment of the economy. Anyways, Spotify is terrible. Spotify doesn't pay artists enough. But here's the thing. If you look at the payouts, it's physically possible for them to pay artists even less. Yeah, right? Hey, for certain artists, myself included, Spotify doesn't have to pay anything for their music. because Spotify is no longer doing payouts for artists who have under 1,000 monthly active listeners. I have like, it's like 10, something like that. What does Mapper have right now? Probably like 4, actually. It's probably even lower. It's lowered again. I have 3 monthly listeners. Spotify does not have to pay me now. This is me on Spotify. Mapper. Why? Whoa, why is that above the... Interesting. It's expanding from that other window capture. Whoa. Weird. Okay. Well, anyways, that's me on Spotify. I'm Mapper. Yeah, so for a large number of artists, Spotify doesn't even have to pay them at all, which is kind of crazy. And anyways, there's this movement going around where artists are trying again to get people to stop streaming on Spotify. And I think the idea of that is cool. The problem is there's only like 2 streaming apps that pay a decent amount for streams, like per stream for artists. And that is Napster and Tidal. And I don't know if anybody out there listening to this has ever used Napster or Tidal. I've never used Napster. I started trying to use Tidal this week, and it sucks. The experience is not enjoyable. I'm going to keep trying to use it because, like, I really want to believe that there is an alternative to Spotify. But it's just, it's a completely different experience. Spotify is such a good user experience. Like, such an exceptionally polished experience. And there's just, I don't know, there's not really a way to compete with that unless you start charging artists less, or you start paying artists less, I mean, or charging your users more, or taking in a lot of VC dollars. So I don't really see an alternative to Spotify. But I don't think we should just give in to despair around that. What I think is that no streaming service has or ever will pay artists enough for them to make money off of their music. The economy on this shifted as soon as streaming services became a thing. Streaming services have never been profitable themselves. Spotify is only just now getting to some simulacrum of profitability. We used that word the other day a lot. Weird. And anyways, so the point I want to make is that it's good to be angry at Spotify. I think we should also be angry at all of the other streaming services. And this is a failure of the market, not of any individual businesses' practices. If you care about streaming being worth it for artists, stopping using a streaming service is not going to incentivize the streaming service to make that happen. So, boycotting is not really the way to go there. What people should do is if there's an artist you really care about and you want them to be successful, go to their Bandcamp and buy their music there. If they have physical releases, buy their physical releases. If they have concerts, go to their concerts. If they have merch, buy their merch. If you care about music at all, you should be taking that approach. Both artists and music consumers. If you're complaining about Spotify, it's so fucking easy to just put some slapdash merch out there that anybody can buy, and you can make a much better margin on that than you can trying to get Spotify streams by posting on TikTok every day. I don't know. I think the anger at Spotify is well placed, but I don't think it's going to do much for us as artists in the long run. So that's my opinion. I have not liked using Tidal so far, and if I don't like it, I'm probably going to go back to using Spotify, as terrible as it is, because it's such a good user experience. It's very worth it for me as a consumer to keep using it, and for the artists that I really care about, I buy their merch, I go to their shows, and I buy their stuff on Bandcamp. you know. And honestly, for label artists, for artists that are on major labels like we're listening to here, Magdalena Bay, they don't need the streaming revenue. They need the streaming numbers so that their label contract is fulfilled. But they don't necessarily need the streaming revenue. They have a label contract. You know, that's just not how the music industry works. The problem with Spotify is how they treat independent artists. And for independent artists, if you're not on Bandcamp, you should be. And that's the end of my rant. We'll listen to Magdalena Bay now. It sucks so much whenever the worst companies do just provide the best. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, look literally everywhere, right? Fucking Amazon provides an incredible user experience. Fucking the way they do their returns, the way they do their shipping, the mass availability of anything that you could possibly want being on a single storefront, that's huge. That's a great yeah. Yeah. My problem with Meta though is that I don't think that Meta is actually the best user experience. I think Steam's user experience, like the Steam VR experience, is significantly better than Meta's VR experience. Yeah. I do agree product wise though. Like I think the Quest, I have a Quest 2 and I stopped using my yeah, as affordability. And where does that affordability come from, right? It comes from an increased exploitation. It comes from increased market share. Once you know that you can stomp out any competitor immediately just because you're the big dog on the market, you can just sort of do whatever. It's like what we're seeing with Republicans in the government right now, right? Like when you have access to a certain amount of capital or power, you know, those things are largely interchangeable. But when you have access to a certain amount of that, you can just kind of fuck around and do whatever you want, and you're going to be the big dog. So, like, I do think, you know, we're going to see experiences like that as the economy gets worse, also get worse, where, like, when people have less money to spend, or when people are consuming less music, or it gets more difficult to, or like less artists start putting their art on Spotify and all these other platforms and stuff like that. What does that do to the incentives of these companies? They no longer have the incentive to represent a certain user base or provide a good user experience for the people that are left. So I think we will see those user experiences get worse before they get better. Those companies need to be destroyed in order for anything to change. And it's the same thing with Spotify. Like the whole idea of streaming music has to go away if we want listening to music to be a way to support an artist. What streaming platforms offer you is not a way to make revenue. What streaming platforms offer you is a way to find new fans and to have fans engage with and enjoy your art. I don't. It's only very recently in human history that that's been a thing that people have been paid for at all. And I'm a musician. Like this hurts me too. But outside of traveling bards, buskers, and people with very rich patrons who were live-in composers for like oligarchs, music has not been a career thing. The Medicis, exactly. That's what I was getting to, Rumples. Yeah. So I don't know. Streaming music, it's fucking cool that it exists at all. But I understand people getting upset that they're not getting paid for their music being streamed, but that's just never been how performing music as a concept has worked, you know? And if you want to get into like licensing, yeah, I mean, maybe there should be like chunk licensing fees for like hosting your music on a platform, but to expect more than a fraction of a cent for every stream, I don't know. There's no way the streaming music industry could work at all. There's no way you could get your music out there to the thousands of people that you can get your music out there to, like it is now, if artists were paid appropriately per stream. I don't think anybody should be expecting to make a living wage off of streaming. I honestly think it falls into that same like sort of libertarian like self-imposed indoctrination thing where all of the libertarians support these terrible politicians because they believe that one day they could be just like them. People who are out there making music, you're never going to be Taylor Swift. You're never going to be fucking Kanye West. You're never going to be, you know, any of these like highest paid musicians of all time. You're never even going to be the like touring musicians that your parents listened to growing up. You know, that's just not a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the performing musicians that exist out there are going to do that. It's a wonder that we get to share our art with people in the first place. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. I don't know why I corrected that. We were playing around with the colors of this because I don't feel like actually working right now. I heard great things about this album, by the way. I've only been kind of listening to it in the background so far, but it's kind of a vibe. Called in sick today. I am here to lurk. Hell yeah. Thanks, Zach. Anyways, thank you for listening to me rant, y'all. I wanted to say something about it just because, I don't know, I saw a lot of people that I like largely respect talking about it online, but from the perspective of like, you know, corporation bad. And yeah, corporation bad. But have you ever thought maybe industry as a whole bad? You're right, but I do like a lot of advice Ludwig gave about streaming there. You got to be delusional. You're likely not going to make it, but surely not if you don't believe you will. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, the streaming thing is a whole other question, right? Like, this is a new market sector. Um, yeah, I think I've seen a clip of that Ludwig advice that you're talking about, but I've said something similar about streaming before, and this applies to all creative endeavors. If you have something you're passionate about, you can do it. You might need some sort of accommodations to do it. You might need to reorganize your life in a way that makes that possible. You might need to make some significant changes, and it might be very difficult. But you can do whatever it is you want to do with your life. If you are severely disabled, there are. I'm not saying that everybody has all ability to do. You know, we all have our own like means that we're working with, right? But like people can do incredible things. Humans can persevere through incredible barriers. I've surpassed some of them in my life. My partner has surpassed some of theirs. I've had a lot of friends who deal with disabilities, hardships. You know, these are things that like can be overcome. But we're talking very broadly. If you are like a neurotypical person who doesn't have to deal with a lot of disabilities, you can probably do whatever it is that you want to do with your life. And if that thing is streaming, then yeah, fucking go for it. If you're really passionate about streaming, get on Twitch or whatever platform or whatever and put your whole fucking heart into it. And if you do that, if you are privileged enough to be able to like put the time in and the money, if you have the means, you know, you can fucking do it, and you'll probably find some success, maybe. But the important thing to keep in mind is that it's not about the success. It's about doing what you're passionate about. If you're passionate about it, you'll probably find an audience of people who like you for you, and they will just show up and watch what you're doing. I'm clearly pretty passionate about this. I made this whole frame myself. I like got into whatever the fuck it's called. What is it called? StreamerBot. I learned how to use StreamerBot. I learned how to animate GIFs and stuff myself and created all of my little channel pings myself. Everything on this channel, with the exception of a couple of my emotes, which were made by TJT Pascal, is me. I made the little like ping sounds and the yeah, it's really fun. But what I'm saying is, like, if you're passionate about it, me doing this stuff is what made the people who watch my channel come back day after day to watch my channel, because they just like me. It's not about the specific kind of content I'm making or anything like that. I don't really make content anymore. I just sort of exist, you know, and the people are here to watch me because they like me and I like them, and, you know, that sort of thing. I'm rambling a lot, but the point that I'm trying to get to is that whenever you have a creative pursuit, if you have something in your soul that you need to bear to the world, just do whatever you can to bear it. But understand that the system of capital, the world that we live in, is not set up in such a way to reward that. Capital rewards, like the myth of the meritocracy, doesn't incentivize passion. It incentivizes being a mindless worker drone. That's cool. I love that. I've been meaning to get into Godot. I tried like a year-ish ago to start making a little text adventure in Godot, and I still want to do that at some point this year, but I just had too much going on at the time. I can probably put this a lot more succinctly than I have been putting it. What am I trying to say? I like this. This track goes pretty hard. Nice. Keep yapping. I'm gonna keep yapping. What was I saying? We were talking about passions. Okay, so the general idea is, if you have a thing you're passionate about, go pursue it. People have, you know, disabilities, people have barriers, people are in marginalized groups, and that affects your access to the means that you need to pursue those passions. That's going to make it harder for some people. But if it's something you're deeply passionate about, if it's something that is in your soul and you need to get it out there, you will find a way to do it. You know, that's just how humans work. Humans are fucking incredible. The main point is that the system of capital that we exist under does not incentivize that. You will not be rewarded monetarily for that. And if you are, it's a fluke. It's luck. So whenever you're getting into streaming, if you see influencers on Instagram and you want to do the kind of thing that they're doing, that you're really passionate about it. If you have been, playing music all your life and you finally want to start a band and start touring and posting music, like recording your own music, that sort of stuff, understand that if you're doing that to make money, it's not going to work. If you're doing that to make money, it might work if you like do all of the fucking algorithmic gobbledygook that is necessary to make something like that work. But it probably won't. A fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the people who get into any of these creative careers actually find monetary success. Go fuck yourself. This is why I have... We're going to turn follower-only chat on again. This is why we can't have nice things. Fuck you, Mournful Parachute. Also, the .ru link, come on. I know we're, quickly approaching Russian oligarch levels of wealth inequality and disenfranchisement here, but we could at least have some fucking sanctity. Use a .com link. Bitch. What was he saying? Capitalism. Capitalism's the problem. I think I said everything I needed to say. Oh yeah, but I like this. That's a good groove. I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. 1 second. Exactly. Man, his bass work is incredible. I forget the guy's name from Magdalena Bay. Really great bass work. Capital. Oh yeah, the flip side of that is if you have something you're passionate about, yeah, don't expect to make money from it. The passion, the expression, the sharing of work is rewarding in and of itself. And if you don't feel that way, I know I have not felt that way for a very long time. It's because you are programmed by the capital system or by, in my case, Christian conservatism that I grew up in. The sort of Protestant work ethic. If just sharing your work, if just doing the creation of art is not enough for you, you need therapy. That's there's nothing wrong with you. You've just been programmed for that to not be enough because for the vast majority of human history, it was enough for everybody who did that. We have tons of evidence, tons of historical accounts to show that art, was never something that people made entire careers out of, with the exception of a small fraction of people. And that it was, it was community expression. It was self-expression. It was about connection and empathy and sharing and creating culture with each other. And when we extricate art from that expression and make it all about capital, it loses all of that self-validating. It loses all of that intrinsic value for us. And we get into this fucking gig economy grind set where we think we have to be posting all the time and making a specific kind of art. And manipulating the algorithm in a certain way. Fuck that. It's just programming. Stop giving into it. Just put your stuff out there and go to therapy. I'm doing much better since I started doing that. That's what I have to say to everybody. Also, it's okay if you still want to use Spotify. It's fine. Fuck playing the algorithm. Exactly. You're never gonna game the algorithm. It's like trying to play the casino. Why would you think that's gonna work? Ah! I keep clicking out of this, and I don't mean to. Why did that... I edited the wrong one, I guess. I wanted to select this. Can I not do that? I'm learning things right now about the Sprite user interface. Man, that was quite the rant. I got all fired up. I very consciously made the decision to not do that to save my own mental health. Yeah, exactly. There was somebody else. I won't name them, but there was somebody else from my community who was very passionate about the idea of getting into streaming because they saw me and TJ specifically, really enjoying it and building a following and stuff like that, and making connections with new friends over the internet and all that stuff. And I want to sort of protect people. You have to set appropriate expectations for yourself when you're getting into something like this, because it really is not about the numbers. It's not about the money. I like seeing number go up. Don't get me wrong. I still have that capitalist programming. I like seeing number go up. That's why the 200 follower curse annoys me. It wouldn't annoy me if I didn't like seeing number go up, but I like seeing number go up. And you know what? I think that's fine. Because I am not the country that I was born into. I am not the things that I was taught. I am me. I am the choices that I have made and the experiences that I have had. And I can do with that what I will. And I like when number go up. We haven't done any pixel art, and I am about to have to end the stream. I'm glad I got to rant about Spotify, though. That was the main thing that I wanted to do, honestly. Because people are also like really hateful about it, right? Artists and like creatives in general, whenever somebody has a take that's a little more like pragmatic or blunt about the stuff we have to deal with, they get really defensive because it hurts to like have that realization that the thing you're pursuing is not possible or that the system can't work the way you want it to work, you know? But that's the way it is. And it sucks. Okay, so anyways, this attack is a big lick. The head comes off and it lick. I think what I want it to do instead of these like lips and teeth, I want the head to come off further. Ooh, what if this? What if instead of the head peeling off that way, because I want the tongue to be like very visible. What if the here, I completely forgot whether it was Shift in or Alt in to create a new layer. All right, this is stream. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna do this on this layer here. Oh, oh. Okay. What if instead of that, we have the head sort of come back here? Turn on pixel perfect here. And then we need this sort of like that. Trying to color with pixel perfect is always weird. Okay. So we have, I shouldn't have done that. I should have used the other dark color. So rather than having this open up and be a mouth, we have the head sort of rock back and open like that, sort of back into the side. This goes pretty hard too. I just squeaked like crazy. That was wild. Okay, so we have our head sort of rocking back. And then, let's see. And then the next frame, let's see, we will separate the head. And it goes back even further. I need my, where's my onion skin? I'll go ahead and delete that. Okay, head goes back further. Boop, 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 boop. There's that, and then we got the ears sort of sideways beside it. Thank you for the lurk, Rumples. Hydrate. Fuck water. Water is a ploy by Nabisco to wait, is it not Nabisco? It's good night. I'll drink some water. Nestle, thank you. I got my evil corporations confused. Okay, so the idea was to do like the whole head going back here, and we can darken it as it goes back, you know, because it's going sort of behind the body. We can actually just sort of, we can start disintegrating this line as it gets further back too. And then by this frame, we could basically have the whole head sort of like this, the ears. The fuck are they doing? Okay. So that's our yeah, there we go. The idea is to own all the water. Yeah, exactly. I mean, did you see what Trump is doing? Or did Trump actually do it? Trump, let me Google Trump California water. I didn't even see what the outcome of that was. Oh, yeah, they did it, huh? They opened those dams? Fun. Yeah, what isn't Trump doing? Yes, I still don't know why. Right? It's just gonna get wasted. It's just gonna go away. I don't know. I honestly think it's just like a flurry of. I think it's just a big fuck you to California because he doesn't care about humans. You know, he doesn't care about the fact that the water's gonna get wasted, and his supporters don't care because it's Californians that are gonna deal with it. You know, not necessarily the rest of the U.S. Like they specifically don't give a fuck about California. I was thinking as the head falls back, this should probably like sink behind the body. But it's the CA farmers who are quite conservative. Yeah, that's true. I mean, conservatism has never been about one's own, economic interests, right? I love accelerating the water crisis actively. They don't care because they don't talk to those. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. They just don't care because they don't talk to those conservatives. It is sad, right? Like yeah, it's really fucking sad. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything in particular to say about it. It's just fucked up. I need this to go behind. Ooh, that's sexy. Wait a second. Yep, own the libs. Own the pounds. Fucking. I appreciate your lateral thinking, Bardket. Maybe I do want to do this. Ooh. Should we just do straight up blood? I don't want to add too many colors to this. I was doing the purple in the other tongue. Honestly, the song goes pretty hard. Yeah. Anyways, it is sad what's happening with the water in California. It's going to make everything so much worse. And I shouldn't. I don't mean to make it sound like only Californians are going to have to deal with it. It is going to be worse for everyone if California has no water. I'm just trying to see if this way is better as far as making the like tongue more visible and stuff. We love a visible tongue. But it looks too much like it's popping out on top of the guy. You know what I mean? Maybe if I did like that. I'm trying to keep the palette limited because I don't want this to be when Bits does alternate colorways of these in stream avatars. I don't know. I don't really like the way this looks. It was an experiment, and you know what? I don't think it reads very well. That's where like 13% of America's agriculture is. Yeah, right? It's going to be really bad when that happens. Yeah, I think we got to just work in two dimensions, honestly. I could maybe do some research to see how to better communicate that, but I think we got to just stick with the mouth. And I hate to admit this because it's the exact opposite of what I want, but people need to see things getting bad. They need to feel it in their pocketbooks in order to have people start realizing what's happening. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day with the what is that the Hindu thing that the Nazis co-opted? It's called the like Hava something. What is it? Hindu Nazi hard times thing. Not the swastika. I mean, obviously they took the swastika. But there's a concept in Hinduism that the Nazis borrowed. Pretty wingu, Law. That's a good wingu. That's a pretty bird. Hard times create strong men. What the fuck is the thing called? There's a phrase for it in maybe it's not from Hinduism. Anyways, there's a term for that I can't remember. But the idea is that, yeah, hard times make strong men create easy times create weak men create hard times. And on a micro scale, like when somebody experiences Yeah, right. It's fucking. It's so fucked up and dystopian. But like on a micro scale, we do have research to suggest that when people endure hardship, they become more resilient, and that makes them more capable of achieving their goals. Yeah, Foucault has a similar theory. Thank you. But on a societal scale, what you're effectively saying is, hey, we need to make everybody suffer in order to make the world better. And that's just not how things work, like on a sort of macro socioeconomic scale. You know, like that research does not play out into the macro. It does on the individual level. Like we have pretty strong research to suggest that people who endure hardship, exactly, yeah, they're reacting to that trauma. There was a clip I saw the other day of Jesse Eisenberg was in an interview, and he was talking about how he has this like voice in his head, this like social anxiety that a lot of us experience, where he felt like he was at like a bagel place or something like that, and he was intimidated to ask the person like making the bagels a question about the bagel. And he was saying like, I thought to myself, would I, or I asked ChatGPT was what he was saying. I asked ChatGPT if I had experienced more hardship in life, would I have less social anxiety? Would I be able to ask this nice person at the counter this question? And ChatGPT was like, yes, and linked to the research, and it's true. Like there is a lot of research to suggest that, but it's I don't know. You can't just take everything that applies on the individual level and extrapolate it out to society, because society is a different beast. We're a superorganism, right? We work differently than an individual. Yeah, exactly. It's like saying, yeah. Well, dude, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't remember if you're okay with dude or not. Uh, what was I saying? Yeah, a lot of people use ChatGPT as a therapist, and honestly, it can be a useful service. Yeah, the term dude, because some people don't like. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, so that goes really hard too. Everything's distracting me right now. That bass line. That's good. That reminds me of like some old Flaming Lips. Yeah, that's really good. I forgot what I was saying. Anyways, I gotta end the stream soon. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, ChatGPT. People are using it as a therapist, and considering how expensive therapy is and how a lot of people don't have health insurance, much less health insurance that covers. You want to make some bacon? Yeah. God damn it, Rumples. I'm so manic and like ADHD right now that I can't even anything. Yeah. I understand not liking it. You really want to make some bacon, right? Fucking guinea. Yeah, no, there are plenty of reasons to not like ChatGPT. Like, OpenAI is a terrible company. The way they created ChatGPT, horrible. Pulls out also. I do want to make some bacon. In that sense, that'd be really good. Yeah, I don't know. AI is a complex issue. I don't agree with using it as a final point of creation or as a source of information in and of itself. Exactly. Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, because therapy is so unavailable for people, there are people turning to ChatGPT for that, which is a terrible idea. It's probably better than nothing. But yeah, not it's not great what's happening right now. None of it is really good. Uh, this is true. No, I mean you're totally right. Like people definitely shouldn't rely on it. Its whole thing is hallucinations, right? Like that's why it's useful is because it gives hallucinations that are interesting and sound like human conversation and stuff like that. But that's how AI works is just lying. Knowing conceptually some of the math behind it, I would never depend on. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, just thinking about how like transformers work. It's you're not dealing with like an intelligent thing. You're dealing with an algorithm that is black boxed, and I find hallucinating and lying to be ascribing too much intelligence to ChatGPT already. Well, yeah, I mean semantically, yeah, uh, yeah, kind of. I think, yeah, I mean, maybe you're right there. Like those terms sort of perpetuate the idea that it is intelligence at all, when in actuality it isn't. I don't know. I also have the most woo woo thing about me is that I have some weird ideas about what consciousness is. And I think, emergent systems are sort of their own kind of consciousness, and it's difficult for us to engage with or conceptualize that because our own consciousness is its own unique form. So, I mean, when we approach something like an actual singularity, when we get an actual AGI or something like that, I don't think we would even know that that was happening until long after it happened, because our perception of consciousness would be so different from how consciousness could work in a like digital being, in a like virtual being. But so, I'm not going to say that like AI in general could never be those things, but I agree that like right now in its current conception, with everything being based on LLMs, which you're right, are literally just gambling, is probably not a good path to go down. I will interrogate that more for myself, because yeah, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't be using those terms either. Maybe that perpetuates that sort of like practice of like, yeah, like sort of trusting everything that companies like OpenAI say. They very much like they did that AGI test recently with one of their was it the O3 model, I think. And the it's not actual AGI. They just call it an AGI test because they're like, oh well, an AGI should be able to answer this diverse array of questions about this well. Some like independent party came up with it, but that doesn't say anything about the actual AI itself. Yeah, that's interesting to think about. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to end stream now before I'm too late for the things that I need to do. I love you all. Hopefully I'll see you Thursday. If I don't, I will see you next Monday. Laws are threats made by the dominant socioeconomic ethnic group in a given nation. It's just the promise of violence that's enacted, and the police are basically an occupying army. You know what I mean? Yeah. I completely agree.